Like I'm wearing my dad's shirt there.
A little bit.
That's fine. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Billy Collins, and this is the Collins Project. I am joined once again with Mr. Matt Dodge, my co-host for these. We're not sure what we're going to call it yet, are we?
Collins Project.
For the time being,
Dodge.
but you know, we'll come up with something because he's a huge part of this channel, guys.
The hugest.
Do us a big favor. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that notification bell. Guys, here we go. Yep, that's me, Billy Collins, and this is my channel. A channel filled with interviews, motivation, entertainment, and perhaps a cocktail or two. Guys, this is the Collins Project. What's up, buddy?
Not too much.
What are we going to tell them about today?
What do they need to know about?
I think they need to know the difference between hard work and talent.
Yeah.
I mean,
so this came, we were talking on the phone. We just did a show about luck. Mm-hmm. And for some reason in our culture, we tend to skip over things like natural gifts and abilities, especially when it comes to things like work, business, stuff like that.
right.
When you hear Mariah Carey sing, clearly she was born with something that I was not born with. There's something extraordinary about her ability to sing. It's probably been like that for a long time. I would argue the same is true in business, right? Having the ability to become a high-powered CEO or a business owner or whatever, there is a lot of God-given natural talent in that.
Yeah, because you got to be able to see the process. I mean, you can have a widget and think, oh, yeah, I think that widget is great. But the talented entrepreneur would go, yeah, that's great, but this widget's better. I mean, they can pick out, like you say all the time, they can move the dirt and find the gold.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And to me, I think that's a huge talent.
It's massive. So the trick is, and I always talk about like finding out what your superpower is, and you know, I think we all have it to some degree or another. But finding whatever that is, like for me, I enjoy doing blank, and how do I actually plug that into something that's productive that people will pay me for, right?
Yeah.
Either for a good or service, and it's not as easy as it sounds like.
Yeah, and you asked me earlier what your talent was, and I feel like I'm a talented person, but I really couldn't put my finger on the pulse of what I was talented at.
Yeah, or put it into terms that I would understand. Like,
yeah,
I'm a talented surgeon. Okay, I get it. You perform surgery. You know, I said we all know the abstract things we're good at. It's like, what is the concrete things we can do with that?
Yeah, and like you're a talented kicker, talented athlete, talented financial. I mean, you have a bunch of hats. Similar to me, like, you know, I'm talented in magic. I'm talented in giving advice about business. I'm talented in bartending. I'm talented of entertainment. But it's like, how do you capture that in just one word?
It's seeing all those little things and seeing what is the consistent aspect of it. You know, because I had a rude awakening. There isn't going to be a job posting, hey, Matt Dodge, the Matt Dodge job that's built perfectly for me. In my experience, more times than not, positions are created a lot of times. Like the position I have, the business I'm in now, it wasn't open and I filled it, right? It was, hey, this is where I can add value, and I kind of grew into that role. And that's how it is a lot of time. But we're so conditioned to think manager or assistant manager or sales representative or whatever the LinkedIn definition or term we can use for it. And if you're a creative like we are, it can be tough. It's a lot of times like a square peg in a round hole. Yeah. And more times than not, you kind of have to, do a lot of stuff and then realize, yeah, I'm actually pretty good at that. You almost, you kind of back into it on accident almost. So you mentioned kicking. So I grew up, always had a really strong leg, right? That was my God-given superpower. I could just kick stuff really, really hard. And then it's like, all right, what do I apply that to? I could play soccer, right? But now when I played soccer, everyone had a pretty strong leg. It wasn't that big of a differentiator.
So it's hard for you to stand out.
Yeah, I still stood out, but it wasn't as valuable as when I played football. And now I could kick a football further than everyone else on the team. That was where I fit in. You know, life is a lot of like, what position do we play?
Yeah.
You know, what are we really, really good at? And what are we not good at, so that we don't play that position and we can go find teammates that can, you know,
Right,
a wide
yeah.
receiver needs a quarterback to throw the ball to him.
Yeah, and I think I've always been funny, witty, entertaining even from a small kid. It's just part of my DNA.
Yeah.
But I need to start monetizing that and working.
Which you are to an extent. I mean, bartending, right?
Yeah, because I do. You're right. You're on. It's almost like, you know, bartending. People say, "Oh, you just pour drinks." No, it's much more than that. You have to be a financial person because you got to think quick and count money. Two, you got to be witty and entertaining. You got to be sharp. You got to know people's demons, if they're drunk or not.
Yeah.
You know, there's a bunch of different things that go on. So I guess you're right.
Yeah, so there is no perfect role, right? But the better you know yourself, you know, the more I study really successful people and how they got really really clear on what they were good at and really clear on what they stunk at, what was absolutely, because you can get better at just about everything, right? You can, if I practice the piano every day, 10 hours a day, I would probably become better at it. But that's not my natural inclination, right? It would be a struggle. It would be a lot of effort to do it. And the reality is you're gonna have to put in so much time into something to become excellent at it, whether you're naturally talented or not. Definitely if you're not naturally talented.
Yeah.
And you know, Steve Jobs talks about that, like find what you're passionate about. Typically, you're not really passionate about something that you suck at. Yeah, it's hard to be passionate about. I'm not passionate about my singing because I can't sing at all,
Yeah.
right? So it's having that self-awareness. Competence breeds confidence, and you know, we talked in other videos, the class in school that you always got an A in without trying, you know, that's your you have natural ability in that. So
Double
hone
down.
in on that and see where you can take, instead of, well, I got a D- in this, I want to get all A's so my parents will be proud of me, so I'm going to get a tutor and focus and bust my tail. And the thing is, you could get an A. You could bring that D- to an A, but how much effort did that take? You know, the second you stop studying that subject with all your might, you're going to revert back to the norm. Whereas in the A, you're always at that level, right? So you want to look to where you can go from good to great, not bad to okay.
Does it aggravate you when you see someone that's just really talented and it just wastes all the talent? Like, I see people and I'm like, just so much talent, and then they just waste it. And I see it in celebrities too. You know, one of my favorites was John Belushi. So talented. You know, just walked out and you just laughed by seeing him.
Yeah.
But he wasted it with, you know, his.
Yeah, I mean, it's more tragic than anything. Like, I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about, well, what is Billy doing with his life? I've got enough in my own life.
Right.
You know, I'm more. It pains me more to think, look, another year's gone by, and I haven't done the thing I said I was going to do, or started creating videos or writing and all these things that are secret kind of superpowers that where if we could wave a magic wand, we do that every second of the day. And turns out that's where we're really good at. It's more I look at my own life, you know, because I know myself a lot better than I know you, right? I know what my natural inclination is. So that's what I would encourage just anybody to do, is find that thing that you do naturally, because you're watching this video, I'm 30, just turned 34. I'm more myself now than I ever have been, right?
And I agree with that, because I'm 48, But I feel like I've hit my stride. I feel like I really hit my stride, whether it be because I got divorced and I was forced to do that, or it just, everything aligned, and now I'm not worried about the risk anymore.
Yeah.
So I can jump on YouTube or do a show or work whenever I want to. I've almost gotten a freedom from that, and I think a lot of that has to do with my talent.
Yeah.
Even though I can't hone in on what that talent is, I don't have a specific title for that talent.
Yeah.
I know that I have it. I know that I have that. We talked about a spark of greatness.
Yeah.
That everyone has, and what we all should strive for. I know you and I both shoot for that. But it's also, opened doors for me to move forward.
It's where you have the capacity to be excellent, right?
Yeah.
That's where to focus. So I look at, we're all pretty multifaceted. So we're trying to find our edge, our competitive edge, things we do now. So we probably have a bunch of different edges, right? And I look at it's almost like different seeds that we have inside us. If we planted it, there's certain seeds that are going to grow, a redwood tree seed versus, a crabgrass seed. Both are going to grow if we water it, but the redwood obviously has so much more potential. And if you're really honest with yourself and you start thinking of, like, how do I 10x my life, right? When you think of that, how do I produce 10 times more than I am right now? Well, that cuts out a lot of the things you're mediocre at, because it's like, I'm not going to make 10 times more by doing something mediocre. It's actually easier to think in terms of 10x than it is 2x, right? Because 2x, it doesn't really stretch you that much. But if you start thinking really, really big, then you're going to hone in on, all right, well, if I'm going to be really big,
I got to do X amount of stuff,
It's only going to reward excellence to 10x where I am right now, right? To 2x, if I'm honest, I probably don't work as hard. If I just worked as hard as I should right now, I could probably double my income.
Yeah.
But to 10x it, that's going to be a lot more working smarter than harder. So talent, but here's the thing about talent, right? So I was born with a really strong leg, kicking a football. Now I use that because it's easy to understand, right? I didn't have to necessarily work for it, right? It wasn't as if one summer I decided I'm gonna work out my legs really hard and get it, and just do all these drills, box jumps and squats and deadlifts and sprints and all that stuff to make that leg strong, right? I was born with it. So we tend to discount what has come so naturally to us, right? We love, especially in America, we love that rags to riches, pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. We love that before and after picture.
The Rudy story.
Yeah, we just love that. The reality is, the Rudy story is cool, but Rudy was never going to make it to the Hall of Fame in the NFL, right? There's just like I could have a Matt story playing basketball. I was never going to be Shaquille O'Neal. I was never going to be Michael Jordan. They obviously had a great work ethic, but they paired that with just out of this world, their superpower.
Yeah.
Right? That superpower, it gets maybe downgraded a little bit. It doesn't get as much attention because we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Like, hey, genetically, you're not as good as Shaquille O'Neal, but if you work really hard, you know yourself. You can't BS yourself, right? So you're going to have to put in that time. So you might as well put it into something that you have ability. And when you do that, you're going from good to great. And if you're trying to 10x your life, that's only going to be through greatness, not mediocre.
Yeah. So what would be your well, not definition, but you can't teach talent.
You can't.
It's just one of the things that's instilled in you in the beginning.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what other than kicking, what's your talent?
I mean, it's tough. I know I truly enjoy taking complex subjects and making it relatable, right? Which being in my industry now, it's a very abstract It's a handshake and a signature, right? I don't have widgets where, like a car salesman, they can just point at the car. They don't have to describe the beauty of a car to you. Look at it, it's right there. It's a beautiful car. So where I work, it's a very abstract business. So I'm able to leverage that strength by saying it's kind of like this, you know. And I've had multiple clients, and I've written a lot about this. They're like, man, you actually have a way of describing it that I understand. I'm like, that's a superpower. You know, enough people told me that. So obviously, it's above the ordinary. So I can take something complex and immediately, it's not dumb it down.
But you're more of a problem solver.
It's a problem solver, but I can take it and put it to the layperson understands.
Which is kind of basically what you did with me when before we started. We always have a little meeting and we break down what's going on with the channel, how we want to proceed, or
what are we doing with our life? And is this worth it?
Is this worth it? Why are we editing so long?
Yeah.
But sometimes I will tend to get overwhelmed a little bit, and the great thing about Matt is that he can break stuff down like that. He can, the X's and O's, if you want to go to football terms, of how to simplify things, how to describe things, and it kind of pulls me back. So I would say that is a huge talent you have.
And so that's another one. I was talking with another colleague. I get clarity in my own life by helping others get clarity, if that makes any sense. Like, I can get extreme clarity. Like when we were whiteboarding, like, hey, here's how we could do it. I hadn't studied that. It just popped into my head. So I get clarity helping others get clarity. Now, when it comes to my own life, it's we have blind spots ourselves.
Oh, I know. I've talked about the blinders before. It's easy to critique and
because we're emotionally think of it this way. You know someone that's in a bad relationship, right? It's an abusive relationship, one way or the other. You don't have emotions involved in that relationship. So you can quickly see, like, this, you need to, you can give good advice, right? When you're emotionally involved and invested in it, that's why people stay in bad relationships for years and years and years, because they have all that emotion tied to it. I've done that. Right, so we all have our own blind spots, but that's where I see. I'm creative by nature, and my writing. I enjoy writing probably more than I enjoy this, but I do enjoy this. But I can get my point across a lot better when I write. So that is a tangible kind of skill that probably started out with my ability to simplify things, and then honing it through writing. You know, I wasn't great at writing, but a lot of times people struggle writing. They get writer's block. They don't know what to. That never happens. I can sit in front of a keyboard and just literally type, and it just starts flowing out. That's a superpower. So a way to identify what's a strength for you and what's a talent. It's something that you can do, that you're great at consistently, over and over and over again. Right. That's what a strength is. Consistently great. Right. Now, strength is from Marcus Buckingham 3. This has really helped me, because there's things I'm good at that I don't consider a strength. Like, it's just not. I don't get a lot of fulfillment out of it, even though I'm good at it. Strength is made up of talent, which is the most important. Shaq. No one can teach Shaq to be 7 feet, and then from talent you have skills and knowledge. Right. So your strength is entertaining. You're naturally an entertainer. You had to pick up the skills and knowledge, like how to set up lights, what kind of camera to get, how do I upload it onto YouTube. If we're honest, the not really fun stuff, but it's the necessary stuff.
It is necessary evils to go with it,
Yeah.
And even though we talk about how annoying all this can be sometimes and tedious, and I talk about bringing somebody in. It'd be great to have somebody come in and set up everything and just sit down. I don't know if I could give up that control 100%. It's... That is, I mean... Because I think, not that it would take away from my talent, but I think some of those things that we do, like you were saying, iron sharpens iron. And those things, the small little tedious things, make the talent so much better.
It does. But at some point, Zig Ziglar, who I've read a lot, talks about stopwatch time. So putting a stopwatch around, and he was talking in terms of salespeople. and saying basically when you're sitting across from a prospect and having a sales, making a presentation, whatever, that's stopwatch time. So every time you're doing that, click the stopwatch, and when you stop, click it off. And at the end of the week, see how much time is on that stopwatch, right? A lot of us are busy, but not productive. So your most productive thing is entertaining. So as you go, you can maybe that'll help. Like, hey, this is where I add the most value.
Yeah.
Right. There's someone else out there. Their superpower is to be able to look at a room and say, all right, we want a backlight here, this here. We're going to do this angle. You know, put that flag a little bit here. They can do that, which frees up you. You have the ability to do it all, right?
Yeah.
But being in front of the camera, that's where you get an A.
You're right. That's where we're talking about.
We're probably C students when it comes to lighting, which is okay starting out, like the lean startup. But ultimately, I mean, the Hollywood blockbusters, they have the best actors, the best directors, the best filmers or whatever, the best
sound guy,
costume,
the best, yeah.
Everything you start to, and that's where but it's hard to delegate when you're not really sure of what you're good at, right? Jack of all trades, master of none. You have the ability to do all this stuff, but this is your superpower. You know, it's okay to do, you have to do that other stuff, but eventually hand that off to someone that's their superpower.
Then I can come in like a rock star, sit down,
just be like,
fifth of Jack in hand.
Hey, that's what I named my son after. There's a little Jameson little boy down the street. So.
Jameson. I'm going to have a kid call him Jim.
Jim, hey. I thought my name was Damn It for a long time. Damn it, get over
I thought
here.
mine was Asshole. I shit you not. It was like, asshole, give me a beer.
That's an old Bill Cosby skit before I knew everything else.
Everything he did, the drugging. So, before we wrap up, is there any advice that you can give people as far as how to find their talent?
Yeah, so I think they know intrinsically what they're naturally inclined towards. What are things that you do when you're not thinking, right? Things you naturally do. What are you consistently good at, right? What do you do consistently well? It could be, I'm really good at talking my spouse off the ledge or whatever. Like there's some part in your life that's a superpower. So first identifying that, right? And then, all right, because a lot of times people think, well, I'm gonna have to quit my job and go find the perfect job. That's not usually the case. It's how do I highlight my strengths in this current role? Because you're gonna be so much more productive. A couple good books would be Marcus Buckingham has written a bunch of good books on this. There's a great video on YouTube, maybe you can put the link in the description, called Trombone Player Wanted. It's I'll just leave it at that, but that's the first thing I watched my senior year in college. I was thinking, that's amazing. Why has nobody told me this? So yeah, read, discover your strengths, get really, really clear on what you're good at, and really clear on what you're not good at. That way, if you have a boss, you can say, hey, look, this is my superpower. If I do this, I can 10x my life, which is only going to do good for you, the boss, right?
Yeah.
So that would be my suggestion. Start thinking about it.
And I think for my little tidbit to piggyback on that, it's like, don't hide your talent either. So if you're a great singer, don't sing in a closet. Share it with everyone, because I think we all need a little bit more talented people in our lives. And so just don't be afraid. I mean, if you're proud of it, be proud of it.
Yeah.
It's like, do it. Go out, and if you're a great dancer, go out and dance in the streets. Whatever the case, I'm a terrible dancer, but I'll still go dance in the grocery store.
Dance like nobody's watching?
Yeah,
and that's another thing too. Ask, like, hey, be honest with, like, iron sharpens iron. What do you think I'm good at? Like, when you think of me, oh, Matt's good at blank. What is that? Because your interpretation of it might be different. I'm so close to Matt that it's
hard to see the blinders. Yeah.
But you could look at it and be like, Matt, you need to do stand-up, right? A lot of times it's great suggestion, and when you start getting more of those suggestions from at the outside, people you trust, have your best interest at heart.
Put those in the basket and see where it...
Yeah, if they say it enough...
Might be true.
It's probably true.
So, guys, Thank you for watching the video. Hit the subscribe button. Matt, thank you so. Oh, by the way, I'm going to start the books that Matt drops, name dropping of these books. I'm going to start putting those books in the description down below, so you guys can pick those up and, like I said, put the videos and stuff.
Yeah.
So that way you guys can reference different things that we talk about in the video, because I do think it's important that, one, you watch the videos. You're going to get something out of it. Two, is to if you want to better yourself and be a better person, no matter what it is, you know, then use some of the books that Matt and I talk about. Read them, go with them, because if he's read the book, I've either listened to it or I've read it myself or it's come close to it. So it's long-winded, sorry. It'll be in the description down below.
I'll start stacking them up here. I have like 1,000.
I'll be the Vanna White.
Yeah.
But guys, once again, thank you so much for watching the channel. Matt, thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a big thumbs up if you liked the video.
If you didn't, you have horrible taste.
Horrible taste. Guys, we'll see you on the next show.